Hey everyone, welcome to this special bonus video. Of course, I am Cornshaq, and today we're going to be exploring a piece of my video game collection. Now, I get asked all the time to showcase the whole collection, but it's a little bit hard to do because it's so big and it's kind of spread out a little bit. However, I recently reached a milestone with my PlayStation 4 collection, of course the newest system I collect for, and I figured it'd be a good time to kind of showcase that. So we're going to be looking through all the games I've gotten. That's what all these beautiful blue boxes are here to do. I'll talk a little bit about each game. I'll show all the games in here. There's going to be a little bit over 100, as I've recently got to that 100 plateau is the reason why I'm doing this video. Now, I know some people immediately are going to say, wow, that's a lot of games. It must have been extremely expensive. Did you pay full price for all that? Of course not. I use great services like Gamefly and buy two get one free coupons and Black Friday sales and a lot of other ways to get games for cheaper prices and brand new copies a lot of times. A bunch of these aren't used copies. They're brand new copies that have gone down in price, and I was able to pick them up. One thing about game collecting that you always want to make sure is not to overspend. There's no need to. If you can't get it for the price you want it for, you can wait. Unless it's something you desperately want to play tomorrow, there's no sense in spending way too much money on it. So, another thing, of course, will be, wow, I didn't even know there was that many games on the system, but surprisingly there is. Video game collecting, the games on the systems come out pretty rapidly, especially in the last few generations. I mean, for example, PlayStation 2 has like 2,000 titles on it. PS3 is close to 1,000 at least, and already now at about 150 for the PlayStation 4. Of course, a lot of people also be like, physical media, of course, is dying, but until it does, I won't stop collecting it. So we're going to go through all these great games. There's a lot of imports and a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's dive in. They're not really in a specific order. A few of these piles are alphabetical order. I'm actually doing this video, another reason why, is to kind of reorganize everything and putting it all back in nice alphabetical order. So anyway, I'm going to start with the left side here, this first set of games to my left, and we're going to, like I said, go through these quickly. The first game happens to be, and actually I think these are in order, but anyway, this is Natural Doctrine, or I think it's Natural, yes, Natural Doctrine. This is one of the few RPGs that no one has talked about on the PS4, and this was done by Nippon-ichi Software America. They are, of course, usually also publish like the Disgaea series and all that kind of stuff. They originally just kind of were a developer, and Atlas used to publish a lot of their stuff here, like the original Disgaeas, and like Mastiff did the La Pucelle English version. However, since about then, they started bringing over a lot of their games. Pretty much all their games now that come out in Japan usually end up trickling it out here to North America. I haven't had an opportunity to play this yet, but if you're looking for an RPG that's not something that's been talked about a lot, this may be something for you to look at. Put this like that. Anyway, next up is actually the Japanese version of Onichimbara Z2 Chaos. And speaking of this game, where is it? It's in another pile. We'll get to it later. Do I have it? Actually, no. Good. Cool. I'm awesome because I did this way. This is the Japanese version, which I imported back in October of last year. I think it was October. Anyway, it wasn't supposed to come to North America. I didn't think it would. Basically, if you don't know the Onichimbara series, it's a hack-and-slash game with scantily clad girls, and that's its gimmick. It knows what it is, and it doesn't try to hide from it. We actually got one of these games for the original, for the Xbox 360, and one for the Nintendo Wii, but that was the only games in the series we got, and it's a pretty long-running series in Japan. The prequel to this, the game that came out before this one, I think it was just called Z2, I think, or Z Chaos, something like that. Either way, the one that came out before this didn't come here. It was released on the PlayStation 3. So I figured since that one didn't come here, there's no way they're bringing over the sequel to it, right? Well, shoot me, because, you know, they did. And it actually just came out this week of making this video, and this is the Onichimbara Z2 Chaos. This is the Banana Split Edition. I'm not kidding. It is literally called the Banana Split Limited Edition. I don't know if you'll be able to see the banana on the cover. I haven't even opened it yet. I just got this in the mail today. It comes with an art book, and it's a nice little case, so it makes it a little bit more special for me to rebuy the game, even though I did import it. Actually, surprisingly, I was able to beat the game and get through it relatively easily, even without knowing Japanese, of course. I don't read Japanese. I know a little bit dialogue-wise. I can, like, hear words and I recognize them. Yay, thank you, Community College Japanese 101 and 102 classes. Anyway, I did pick this up. I may replay it again now that I can actually understand the story, but honestly, it's all about hacking and slashing a ton of monsters and looking at the girls. That's the whole purpose of that. Next up, okay, these next two games, and I'll do them kind of together, Pure Pool and Pure Chess, and these are another two strange games. Play It is the publisher on these games. These are PSN titles. I think they're also available on the PlayStation 3. Out of nowhere, earlier this year, I saw a listing for these two games and another one that we'll be getting to later called Stick It to the Man. And I was like, what? They're actually getting physical releases, which shocked me. These are basically bargain bin fodder, but you don't usually see a whole lot of this, and this is some of the few that we've seen so far on the PlayStation 4. They are both sealed. There's no need for me to... I haven't played either one of them yet, but I'm sure they're a good chess and a good pool game. It was just really, really odd to see them released, not only in North America physically, but released kind of like at all. Next up, this was, I bought this on Black Friday last year at GameStop, and I still need to get some of the stickers off of it, but this is Putty Squad for the PlayStation 4. This is a puzzle game, released on other systems as well, which actually is fun. I do kind of, if you want, this is really cheap, you can get a really cheap copy of this. I paid $10, but that was back in November on a sale. I'm sure you can get a copy for less than $10 probably by now. And if you like little puzzle games, puzzle platform kind of stuff, you may want to check out Putty Squad. It's actually kind of a cool game. Next up is Rabbids Invasion. I am not a fan of the Rabbids at all. I am a fan of Rayman, which we'll be getting to in just a moment. So I haven't even played this. This is a game, another one of the multiplayer minigame fest that the Rabbids are known for. And the first Rabbid games that came out for the Wii were actually kind of fun, but they oversaturated the market way too quickly, and it kind of just died really fast. I haven't even messed with this one. This one uses pretty much the camera. I think you have to use the PlayStation, the PS4 camera for almost everything involving this game. So I haven't even bothered to mess with it yet. Next up is Rayman Legends. This is the PS4 version. It was released on like Wii U. It's supposed to be originally it was kind of promoted as a Wii U exclusive, but that didn't end up staying. But this was also released on PS3. But let me just tell you, the PS4 version looks spectacular because they use, of course, it is, I want to make sure, did they actually say, yeah, of course, 1080p. I'm bad with that kind of stuff graphically. All I know is if it looks good to me. So I couldn't really tell you about frame rates and resolutions really that much, but this game looks gorgeous. And if you love platformers, classic platformers, and you have not tried the Rayman games, Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends, you need to do yourself a favor. Go out and get these games. That you will not be disappointed. They're tough, they're challenging, you can play them up to 4 players, which just adds to pure chaos. It does make the games a tad bit easier at times because if you die, you don't start instantly back at the beginning of an area. Your friends can keep going and then you can respawn. So it's actually more beneficial to play multiplayer for it to be easier, but if you like a really intense platformer that's really challenging but not unfair, the Rabbid games, man, you should definitely check these out. And this game is gorgeous to look at. Next up is another sealed game I have, which is Resident Evil Revelations 2. Now, of course, I did play through this on my live stream. I actually have the videos up if you want to go and check out the playlist for all the episodes of it. This was released episodically. However, I couldn't wait, because I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, even when they crap on me over and over again, like they have with Resident Evil 6 and some of the other releases. However, I couldn't wait. I needed the game immediately, so I ended up downloading the digital version, because after the digital version, all the episodes came out for that. Like when the last digital episode came out, they released the physical version, which of course I had to support as well because I really liked the series. Revelations 1, which was released on 3DS originally, also Wii U and PS3. If you haven't played them and you're a fan of Resident Evil, I would definitely recommend giving them a shot. Especially if you weren't a fan of like Resident Evil 6, they kind of go back to its roots a little bit. Not fully, of course, but a little bit they go back. And some people had issues with Revelations 2. And I can see why, because of the other characters. It's basically play it 2-player, and you can do it co-op as well. But mainly you play as Claire and Barry Burton's daughter Moira in one part, and then every episode is broken up into 2 parts. One part's Claire and Moira, and then the other part of the same episode is Barry, and then this young girl who she can't attack or do things. She has to do other weird things, like she can see invisible monsters and stuff. So I can see some complaints from it, but I thought it was well done. I thought it looked good, and I enjoyed it. I like this still a lot better than Resident Evil 6. However, Revelations 1 I think is the better of the games. Next up is actually a North American release. When you see it, Rugby 15. This, like I said, this is a North American release. Like I said, I have a bunch of European imports as well in here, and we'll get to those. But this was released in North America back in, I want to say, around February. And it's a rugby game. It's a rugby game. If you're a fan of rugby, this is the game for you. Other than that, it has a very... If you're into trophies, which I'm a trophy hunter as well, I just actually got my 88th Platinum in Rocket League, which is an awesome game. You should play Rocket League, especially with friends. However, I just got the Platinum in that. But if you're into trophies, this game has a ridiculously easy set of trophies, and I mean really, really easy. So if that's the thing for you, you may want to look for rugby on the budget wall, as I'm sure it'll be there soon enough. Now this one disappointed me a little bit. This is Saints Row 4, the Re-Elected. I just want to make sure the exact copy, the exact name of it. But Saints Row 4 Re-Elected, and it also came with Gat Out of Hell, which was a standalone DLC. What annoyed me about this is not the game itself. Saints Row 4 is a lot of stupid open world fun if you like that kind of stuff. However, was this right here. This is why I didn't like this version. This is a download code, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, just the advertisement for it. Of course, I've already used the code, but I'm not going to show it. But anyway, this is for the Gat Out of Hell DLC, the standalone DLC. It's not on the disc. They didn't do like a dual disc or anything like that. Instead, they only have Saints Row 4 Re-Elected on the disc, and you have to put in the code and get your copy of Gat Out of Hell. And the reason why this annoys me is if you went ahead and went to the store and you see it on the cover that you get both, but then you buy it used, more than likely someone's already used the code in there, or may not even include the code. So that's just very frustrating. They did this also with like God of War Saga, which was all the God of War games back on the PS3. When it was God of War 1, 2, 3, Ghost of Sparta, and Chains of Olympus. Anyway, the two PSP titles, Olympus and Sparta, were download codes only. So if you buy it used, more than likely you wouldn't get those games. So just a minor gripe. Gat Out of Hell, though, was fun for what it is, but not nearly as good as like the core Saints Row 4 game. I would love to see a new Saints Row. Who knows if we will or not. Next up is Shadow Warrior, which is actually getting a sequel soon. They were showing a little bit of that at E3. But this is a remake of Shadow Warrior, the old game that kind of ran on the same engine as Doom. It was one of those Doom clones from back in the day, but actually a pretty cool and solid one. So if you're in like shooters and all that, you can probably get this really cheap. And I heard it was pretty good. I haven't personally played it. I've seen some others play it, but it looked like a decent game. Now, this was a lot of people's Game of the Year last year. This is Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor. This is the original release for it. I know recently they also did a Game of the Year version, which I'm not really huge on Game of the Year versions. They just a pain. And I don't even know, it didn't really even add that much because I don't even think there was a lot of DLC for this. However, Shadows of Mordor is basically Lord of the Rings meets like Assassin's Creed. So if you're into those kind of games, you'll probably love this. I watched my girlfriend play it. I didn't personally play it. But anyway, Shadows of Mordor. Now here's that Stick It to the Man, like I mentioned. The PSN title that was released. God, I'm probably been ranting for like 30 minutes and I'm not even halfway into this yet. But anyway, Stick It to the Man was another one of those crappy released games. I was surprised got a physical release. Now, here's a game I played on day one. Now, I did pay full price for this, because I was actually hyped for it, and that is Thief. This game got a lot of crappy reviews. I actually have my full playthrough up on YouTube, so if you ever want to see me play it from back in, like I said, February. But basically, Thief is a reboot of the Thief series, but it's really, it's all stealth. A lot of people probably thought it was going to be more action-y. If you've never played Thief 4, it's no combat. I mean, there is zero zip combat. Like, the little bit that you do is, like, no. It's all about stealth. So if you're really super into stealth and really good at it, you may want to check out Thief. I'm sure it's getting down there in price now. Now, I've heard a lot of fun stuff about this game, and it recently got an expansion. It's Trials Fusion. I haven't really played a motorcycle game, but it's one of those like crazy motorcycle games with ridiculous tracks and weird physics. So it looks like it could be a lot of fun. I've just never actually gotten around to playing it. Now, this, you're going to immediately say, what, that's the same game, and you'd be correct. However, there's a bit difference here. I have 2 copies here of Walking Dead Season 2. However, in Walking Dead Season 2 here, is this one? Yeah. I have the disc for Walking Dead Season 1. Basically, I went to the store. They released both of these physically at the same time. Instead of doing a combined release, which would have made more sense, they instead released both Walking Dead Season 1 and 2 as separate discs. The thing is, the GameStop I bought it from, which you can see I bought the one new, and I ended up buying the other copy for like $10. But anyway, the guy at GameStop, because it was one of those gutted copies, because they only got one copy in the store, he put the wrong disc in. And I didn't notice it until like 2 weeks later, because that's when I finally got around to playing it. It's my fault. I didn't look inside, you know, whatever. So I was like, oh, I got Season 1. Well, crap. I might as well replay it real quick, and I got easy trophies out of it, because it's unbelievably easy platinum. You just play the game. However, I was then, crap, let me find a copy of Season 2 then, because that's the whole reason I bought it, because I hadn't played through all the episodes of Season 2. So that's how I ended up with both copies. I need to get a box just for Season 1, but I'm sure I'll be able to eventually pick that up for a couple of dollars. Next up is UFC, EA Sports UFC, which I know has a sticker on here for like $38. I did not pay anywhere near that. I got this off of a used game on Amazon, but yet it comes with the EB stickers, which I just have not taken off yet. It had a weird other, oh, there it is, on the label. I guess because of the pawn shop or whoever took it in that sold it. But MMA game, sports game. Next up, another Telltale game, which is The Wolf Among Us, which is a really, really awesome game. I would like to play this version. I haven't played this version of it yet. Another game, if you like easy trophies, here's another good example of another really, really easy one. But this is another awesome Telltale game. And next up and last in this pile, the first pile, oh my god, we're almost done the first pile, is Wolfenstein: The New Order. This finally brought Wolfenstein back to the fold. The last Wolfenstein that had been released back on the 360 and PS3 and all was terrible. We're back, Wolfenstein's back, and it's awesome. It has some retro throwback stuff in it with a new story and all that. Really, really cool. And the standalone expansion for DLC is Old Blood is amazing as well, and we'll be getting to that in just a bit. Okay, so there, first pile is complete. Next pile, let's move along, is Injustice, the Gold Edition, I think? The Ultimate Edition, sorry. Injustice, which is the fighting game from Warner Brothers and NetherRealm Studios, which of course is the same makers of Mortal Kombat. It is all your favorite DC comic characters beating the living crap out of one another. But it doesn't have like fatalities or anything like that like Mortal Kombat. But it's a very, very solid fighting game. If you're into those kind of like fighters, if you play like Mortal Kombat 9 or Mortal Kombat 10 even, and you want something similar, check out Injustice. It's actually well made, some really cool costumes, and this version on the PS4 included all the DLC. All the DLC all in one package. At one point this was a free game on PS Plus, which I did actually download, but I ended up picking up a copy physically because I had to buy. This was one of those ones where I had to buy 2 get 1 free coupon I had to use. And sometimes finding 3 games to buy that are all around the same price, because you know, buy 2 get 1 free is always worse when you get like, oh, I got 2 $40 games and I got a $7 game, and of course I get the $7 game free. So you always try to bunch them close in price, and that's the reason why I ended up getting this. I needed like another game that was like $20 or less. I will probably never get to playing this, but it is a game for PS4, and that is Just Dance. This is the 2015 edition. I should have the 2014 edition in here somewhere as well. But yay, Just Dance. I'm not even going to talk about it. The next 2 games, Killzone, this is Killzone Shadowfall, and Knack, were launch titles. When I first got my PS4, these were the first two games, along with Madden 25, that I got for my PS4 on launch day. Originally, we were supposed to, of course, get Watch Dogs as well, but that game got delayed and... but anyway, so these were 2 of the launch titles. This game should have been so much cooler. Knack should have been an amazing game. It wasn't. It was garbage. I hated Knack. Sorry, didn't like it. Now, oh boy. I won't talk about it much. I promise. Anyway, this is The Last of Us Remastered. And anyway, this of course was a PS3 title, exclusive to the PS3. and they remastered it for the PS4, including the DLC, the Left Behind DLC. This is my favorite video game ever made. Some people may be hearing that for the first time if you're a fan of mine for a long time, but anyway, this is my favorite video game ever made. I love the characters. Joel has become my favorite video game character probably of all time. I'm probably in the minority in that. Yes, I still love like Ocarina of Time, Resident Evil 2, and a few other games as being like my top games, my top 5 games ever. But this game is unbelievable. It just, the story and the acting, it is unbelievable, just fantastic. There's not enough I could say about Last of Us. It would sound like it's too much, like I had some stake in it or something, but this is my favorite video game ever. And it was well worth playing again on the PS4 because it looked even more amazing. If you did not play it on PS3 and you have a PS4, play it. Check it out at least, and try to get through it for the story, even if you're not super into the gameplay. I think you'll find that it's well worth your time. But yeah, this is like, I know, remasters. I know there's a bunch of them, of course. But anyway, that one was worth it to me as a huge fan. Another game I haven't gotten a chance to open yet is Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. Why is it called Lego Batman when it is all DC Comics? I mean, Lego Batman 2 came out on PS3 and was all other DC comic characters, so I never really got around there, had really a ton of interest in playing this because I'm a Batman fan, huge Batman fan, but I didn't really get into this. It also came with it has a keychain inside of it as well. That's why it's a special bigger box version of it, so it's a special cool box. Next up is Lego Hobbit. I'm not into Lego games. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings. There's a ton to do in these games, though. I mean, if you're like one of those people that likes a lot to do in a game, Lego games, man, let me just tell you, Lego Marvel is the same way. Now, I did play some of this. Me and my girlfriend and friends spent like 80 hours getting the platinum in Lego Marvel. It took freaking forever to get everything done in this game. So like I said, if you like a game that takes forever, that's it. Little Big Planet 3. This is the Day 1 edition that came also with the plush edition of the game. There's the box for that. Basically, the plush edition came with this copy of the game and a Sackboy 6-inch Sackboy plush, which is kind of cool. The plush is cool. Honestly, the game has a ton, and I mean a ton of glitches. The story mode is exceptionally short. If you play Little Big Planet 2, it's probably half the length of the main campaign from Little Big Planet 2 is Little Big Planet 3. But it still looks cool, and it still has all the create features and all that kind of stuff, and you can play as multiple different types of Sackboy-esque characters now, so that's a big thing for some people. It was good. It was okay. It wasn't, like, great or anything like that. Next up is another RPG-style game called Lords of the Fallen. I think this is on multi-platforms as well, including last gen, but it looked pretty cool. I watched the girlfriend play it for a bit. I didn't play it. Madden 15. It's Madden. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. I do like Madden games, and it does look good, but God, these games could look so much better, I think, on PS4, but EA won't put the effort into it. Madden 25, which, even though it's a higher number, came out before it, because this is the 25th anniversary edition. So basically, this is Madden 14, and this is Madden 15. But anyway, this is the Madden 25. I've already talked about this game a lot. This is Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. It was on my most disappointing list. I can't wait still for Phantom Pain, coming out September 1st. Cannot wait for that. But if you want about 5 minutes of gameplay, pick up a copy of that. Now here's another one of the remasters that actually is cool, and that is Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light Redux. Basically, Metro 2033 did not come out on the PlayStation 3. However, they put that and Last Light, which did come out on PS3, together in a remastered, more spiffy version of the game. But a really cool shooter in a post-apocalyptic world. It is based off a series of books, if I am correct. And it has some really cool characters and some good storytelling in it, besides everything else with it. So, Metro, if you've never played these games, they're well worth your time. Especially if you're like, I would say, like, if you're a fan of, like, like Bioshock-esque and Fallout. Maybe not on those levels of being that as good as those, but I'm talking about it reminds you of pieces of that, like the way the levels are set up and design and everything else. I highly recommend them. I have nothing to freaking say about this. I hate Minecraft, but Minecraft came out on PS4. Next up is MLB 14 The Show. This was the first PlayStation 4 version of MLB The Show. I'm a big baseball fan, huge baseball fan. The games are beautiful. They're gorgeous. They need to be refined a little bit, but these games look absolutely gorgeous, and they're exclusive, unfortunately, to Sony, so there's no real baseball games on other platforms, which sucks for baseball fans. But if you love baseball and you have a PS4, I mean, give it a try. Like, even if you like baseball, you may want to try it out. Next up is Monopoly Family Fun Pack. This comes with a couple of different Monopoly games or styles of games, a bunch of different boards in it. I think you can also design your own board, I want to say, and then download other people's boards if there's DLC boards. This was published by Ubisoft, so it includes like a Rabbids board. If you like Monopoly, it's Monopoly. There's nothing really too fancy about it. Unfortunately, no platinum. Some Monopoly games had really easy trophies. That's not the case with that one. Next up is Motorcycle Club. This is another one of those games I have not played, probably won't play. It's a motorcycle game. Surprisingly, there's like 5 motorcycle games on the PS4. This is the only one I own. Now, the last but not least in this pile is NBA Live 14. I got this for $2. And you can see why. It has no case. I thought it had a case. The way it was written, it said it had a case, but apparently guys like, no, I never had the case. Well, whatever. I paid $2, and I ended up getting like, it was like $2 shipping or something, so it was $4. But I need to get a case for it. Who cares? It's NBA Live. Sports titles don't hold value anyway, so I wasn't super hurt that I only paid $2 and didn't get the case. I can work on that way eventually. Nick's Poil. We got Air Conflict Vietnam. This is a air conflict game in Vietnam. Now, I never played it. I heard it has pretty easy trophies, but it requires some online, which is annoying. So that's why I probably won't really mess with it myself personally. But just another one of those games. Now this game I've been wanting to play. I should have played. I didn't play. Now I did pay $40 for this on Black Friday because the girlfriend wanted to play, but she never got around to it. I've heard a lot of amazing things about Alien Isolation, and I am a fan of the Aliens franchise as a movie. I hate it. Colonial Marines, like many other people did. So I really want to check this out. I just never have gotten the time or figure out the best place for me to actually be able to sit down and play it, but I've heard a ton of great things. Now this game was garbage. Amazing Spider-Man 2. This was of course based on the film. I paid $25 on a Black Friday sale at GameStop, which I overpaid for. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man. I hate the movies, especially the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Garfield or whatever. The actor, not the cat. But anyway, one thing I do like about the Spider-Man games, even ones based on the movies, they usually include other villains and such. And they do that with this. Kingpin, Carnage, and other villains that were not included in the film are a part of this game. And that makes it cool. However, it's really repetitive. The web slinging could have been amazing, but they flub it up so bad, it's so glitchy. I did a playthrough video set for it, and I meant to put those up. I never got around to putting those videos up. No one's going to sit there and watch that whole long series of things, and there were some audio issues, so that's why you never saw them. But I did play through that. Next up is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, my favorite Assassin's Creed game by far. This and 2 are the top games in the whole series. If you want to get into Assassin's Creed, check out Black Flag or Assassin's Creed 2. That's it. That's all you need to check out. I do like the Assassin's Creed games. I did play through 3 and hated it. I did play through Unity, did not like it. But I did absolutely, positively love Black Flag. This is the Steelbook version of the game. It's a really, really nice Steelbook that came with the Collector's Edition. Assassin's Creed Unity, I just spoke, it's garbage. It got fixed a little bit, but this was on my other worst games of 2014 list, so if you want to know my full thoughts on that, you can check out that vid. Bound by Flame, another RPG-esque game I never got a chance to play. She did for a little bit. I don't really have a whole lot to say. Nothing to say here. Call of Duty Ghosts. Yay, Call of Duty. I don't really play them. Crime and Punishment. This is a Sherlock Holmes game, which I actually wouldn't mind checking out. I like detective mystery style games. I would like to mess with this at some point. It looks pretty cool, actually. Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. This is basically a remastered version of Dead or Alive 5. Excuse me, I think Ultimate. That came out for PS3. It doesn't include everything. You still need to buy DLC and tons of costumes. So it's kind of a rip at that point. I think it has an added character playable. I think it's like a clone character too. I don't think it's like an original new character. It's a fun fighting game though. Dead or Alive isn't the most popular fighting game, but it is fun if you can get into it. It's really counter heavy. So there are fans of it out there. So if you like it and didn't pick up like the Ultimate version on PS3, you may want to check this out. But Dead or Alive 5, Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate or whatever, and then Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. It looks pretty, and there's the boobs still move if you're into the boobies, and that's the whole reason why you play Dead or Alive, like Dead or Alive 2 or 3 back in the day. They're still there, so you'll still get that out of there. I never got around to playing this, but this is DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. It's just a remastered version of the PS3 game, which I wasn't a super huge fan of. But this got released physically in North America. However, the Devil May Cry 4 remaster that came out back at the end of June did not get a physical release in the US, but we will see that soon. Next up is Dragon Ball Xenoverse. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, play this game. It's awesome. It has a lot of throwbacks. You can create your own character. And while you are still playing through the same basic Dragon Ball story, you're doing it from a different perspective with a different meaning to it. It does have some really terrible AI, but it's one of those ones where it's a Dragon Ball game. It's going to be flawed at parts. It's not a perfect game, but if you're a Dragon Ball fan, well worth it. Next up is Dragon Quest Heroes. This is the Japanese version of the game. Quick story about this one. If I had known the North American version was coming out here, I wouldn't have bought this version. However, I pre-ordered this because we had no North American release announced. And the day, and I mean literally the day it shipped from Japan, was the day they announced that it was coming out to North America, and it had already shipped to my house, so I couldn't cancel my pre-order, or I probably would have. It's a lot of fun, though. It's Dragon Quest meets Dynasty Warriors. It has all the monsters that you know and love from the Dragon Quest world, but in a hack-and-slash style game. Very, very cool. Playable characters from the Dragon Quest universe. Some characters from, like, I think 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are included. I don't think anyone from 9 is. Maybe I'm wrong. I may have forgotten. And there's a couple of original characters as well, still done with the same art style of Akira Toriyama. So, Dragon Age Inquisition. Now this is the big. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to zoom out a little bit here. You won't be able to see it with this, but right here. This monstrosity behind me is the Inquisitors Edition. This is where this one came from, which came with a huge, amazing box. I love the box for it. Everything else that was included in it was kind of, it was way expensive. You could only get it web in store at GameStop, which was really annoying. I've gone on a couple of rants about that, and I did an unboxing for it, and I talked all about that when I did that. So you may want to look up that video on my channel if you're more interested in seeing everything with the Inquisitors Edition. However, really cool RPG. Not the best on the system, though. We'll get to that one probably in just a bit, but still a cool game. Duck Dynasty on the PS4. I did a full playthrough of this game. It's as bad as you think it would be. I can't believe this is a thing, but it is. Only thing I can say gameplay-wise, there's Metal Gear Solid-style stealth missions where you play as a pile of leaves trying not to get pissed on by a dog. Dying Light. Oh, wow. We got two of my most disappointing games back-to-back in this pile. But Dying Light, I hated this game. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people that love it. I thought the fetch quest that is all the game was awful. The story I thought was completely unoriginal and wasn't really interesting. None of the characters seemed to matter or were any importance whatsoever. I'm not really into crafting. That's a big thing with me. I'm not into crafting or alchemy and stuff like that. And that's a big part of this is fetch quest and weapon making and stuff like that. So if you're into those kind of things, you'll probably love Dying Light. You probably already did. It's Dead Island, but a little bit more serious, I guess. I hated it, though.